We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Please smash the like button. It's been helping us so much. That is what I've been told why this YouTube channel is growing so much in the last few months. Please smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. And make sure you ring that notification bell. You do not know when we're coming on live. I do not know when we're coming on live next. Wednesday, it is Wednesday. We come on a little bit earlier than usual most of the time. So here we are, early afternoon. If you want to support this true independent college football's rebel outpost with a donation to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel, just hit that $sign where you make a comment and I will get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. This is the true independent national college football's rebel outpost. And if this college football playoffs of 24 teams is not a good enough example for you, I don't know what. I'm going to have to keep I don't want to burn any sources. I don't want to burn any bridges. I've had a lot of people get a hold of me lately. And I just want to congratulate the PATC Einstein, the family that we have created here on this independent rebel outpost. There has been nobody other than Tony Petiti. There has been no entity out there, big or small, it does not matter. There's nobody that has been more in favor of the college football playoffs of 24 teams. Nobody has spent the time like we have. Nobody has put our necks out there. I've gone toe-to-toe with Andy Staples and Harry Wasserman and Josh Payton and all of them. In public, and many people in private. We've explained our reasoning. Our logic has caught on. It has caught on. It's going to be beautiful. Don't worry. It's going to be beautiful when it happens. And it is going to happen eventually. So I want to congratulate all of you because you've all made an impact on this. This channel has made its impact once again for being so small as it is. Although we get a lot of action in this YouTube channel. There's a lot of stuff going on here. But I want to congratulate all of you. Job well done. But we're not at the finish line yet. No. The battle wages on. In fact, we did episode 500 this morning. If you do not see it, we're going to go over it. It's a short little article, but look, and everyone's talking about it today. I've gotten a lot of DMs, people showing me the same information. This report by Brandon Mancello, that report by Matt Baker, that report. Well, we covered all of that in episode 500 early this morning. I did an episode. The little general was still asleep. All of you were still asleep. And I put it out there. The Big 12 and the ACC are all in on the playoffs of 24. However, and there is a however, it's not like the Southeastern Conference is going to sit there and not exact a certain price to all of this. There is going to be a toll tax. There is going to be a Southeastern Conference toll tax on Highway 24. Of course there is. The toll tax might be, we might have to agree to give ESPN something, right? We might have to give them a couple of more playoff games where they don't go up for bid in the open market. Or the SEC is going to have to get a little bit more money out of that distribution economic pie with the bids that come in for going from 11 playoff games to 23 playoff games. Maybe the SEC is going to need a little bit more money. Maybe that percentage point is going to have to go up a little bit. Or the SEC, and we do know this, we reported this to you all a little bit more than a month ago, the Southeastern Conference, some in the Southeastern Conference wants to take another look at that old AQ model that they scoffed at before because they want to protect their conference. They don't trust the playoff committee. Maybe they want a little bit more AQs than the Big 12 and the ACC, and this might be their price. Whatever it is, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of everything, or maybe just one of those things. There is going to be an SEC toll tax. They do own 50% of Highway 24. The Big Ten owns the other 50%. But the Big Ten's most likely is going to be willing to go along with the SEC as long as it's the playoff of 24. And if we go AQ model, as long as the Big Ten has the same amount of AQs as the SEC. But going to 24 is already a victory for the Big Ten because they won. If it happens, and I think it's going to happen, they've won the proxy war for Fox and for CBS and for NBC and probably Amazon, because I believe they're probably going to bid on some college football playoffs. Also, going to a 2014 playoffs provides a lot of grease to a lot of skids. Going to a 2014 playoffs was the ultimate goal by the Big Ten for many reasons. And I'm not going to, we've talked about all the reasons, but, helping out their media partners, whatever. Helping out the conference, whatever. Making it so they could possibly have a strategic partnership, non-conference scheduling agreement with the SEC that might bring in more money. It might open up some sort of play-in game stuff later on, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years from now. But it also opens up conference expansion. Right? Going to a college football playoffs of 24 teams provides the grease to get on the skids for more conference expansion. The expansion that the Big Ten wants to get done. Today we are going to go into the Holy Smokes Theater for the first time since, I believe, April 9th. We're trying to do it once a month. Been trying to do it once a month. And April 9th was not really going into the Holy Smokes Theater. That was my yearly prediction show, not a report. This is a report. Going in the Holy Smokes Theater, I'm going to give you the latest update, the chatter behind the curtain, all the smoke that is out there. And if it is decided, and we are a ways from still getting it all done, right? It has to get done before December 1st if we want to change the 12-team college football playoffs in 2027 to 16 teams or 24 teams. It's got to get done on or before December 1st of this year. So there's time, and they're probably going to take all of it. Or maybe not, but they might. If and when we go to 2014 playoffs, and still somewhat dependent on the structure, the format, is it going to be a 23 plus 1, 23 at large plus 1 to make sure G6 gets in there? Or is it going to be, 5-5, 3-3, whatever, AQ model format? But once that gets done, once the SEC and the Big Ten can finally agree and make the decision, now the Big Ten, now the SEC can start at least pretending to know what the future of college sports, college football is going to look like for the next 5 to 6 years. In other words, that college football playoff jumbo plane that has been circling. And if it lands on Airstrip 24, then the NDAs are going to multiply. Things are going to get very, very interesting. Things are going to get heated up. And then I believe the door is open for a hot bubble of action. Kind of like what we reported to you, Colorado and the Big 12. We're not there. Nothing is imminent. Nothing is settled. Nothing is done. We've been saying that every show for years here at Peek Around the Corner, because they have not been imminent. The last imminent action we spoke to you about when it comes to the Power 4 conferences was the Washington and Oregon situation. So today we're going to go in the Holy Smokes Theater. And today's a little bit different. Today is a little bit different. The information, and this is all like last 22 hours. This Holy Smokes Theater is where people are sitting, where people are standing, is in anticipation of a 2014 playoffs. Okay? Not of a 16, but of a 2014 playoff. Although that's not a done deal, right? That is not a done deal, but this is how the Holy Smokes Theater is looking. Information within the last 24 hours. Now, there's a lot of reporting going on today, and we talked about it yesterday, and we talked about it in our morning episode early this morning, about how, Jim Phillips and the ACC, they're all for the 2014 playoffs. And Jim Phillips was honest. He said ESPN is not for it. And we know the reasons why. And Brett Yormark has said we're in for the college football playoffs of 24 as long as it works economically, because I think he's anticipating SEC renegotiating some of those percentage points. We'll find out together. You've got Notre Dame, Bavacqua, saying that the 2014 playoffs is not the only solution, but it is the best solution. That was Bavacqua's exact words being reported today. So everybody is on board except for the Southeastern Conference. But there are people in the Southeastern Conference that are on board. They're going to raise their voice at their meetings in May 26th to 28th or something like that. Or May 28th to May 30th, late May. And in the Holy Smokes Theater, I believe we are going to say to you all today that the candidates, while nothing is done, nothing is settled, right? They're starting to settle into the chairs. They're starting to understand exactly what their best shot is. In the Holy Smokes Theater, this is about the drama of the ACC and a little bit of the Big 12. In the next wave of realignment, when the conference expansion skids get greased by college football playoffs of 24 teams. Now again, before we get into this, in the second half of the monologue, there are things that we do not know. Now again, this Holy Smokes Theater, where people are positioned, represents the belief that we're going to get to the 2014 playoffs. But we do not know certain things like how much each conference would get paid. How much would the numbers adjust, or the SEC staying at 29%, Big Ten staying at 29%? And what would those numbers change if, let's say, a Clemson and a Florida State would join the Big Ten or the SEC because, again, they've won national titles in this playoff era since 2014, and in accordance to the College Football Playoffs LLC, the more teams you have that won the playoffs, the percentage championship, the percentages change. We don't know any of that, right? We don't know a lot here. But right now, not to confuse here, not to confuse. The last 24 hours, I have been so extremely busy. The little general will vouch for that. This is how it's looking. It doesn't mean that it's 100% that Miami could not be a Southeastern Conference candidate. It doesn't mean 100% that Kansas cannot be a Southeastern Conference candidate. It doesn't mean 100% that Florida State is not a Big Ten candidate. It does not mean that 100% Clemson is not a Big Ten candidate. But this is the definite shock of what aisle, what side of the aisle these candidates are sitting in the chairs, and they're paying attention to the Big Ten, what they want, what they need, paying attention to the Southeastern Conference, what they want, what they need. Now, there are three exceptions. There are three of them that are not sitting in the chairs. Okay? Virginia is not sitting in the chair. This is based on the last 24 hours, more than one long conversation. Virginia is not situated in a chair. They're not on stage. They're standing. They're very alert. Again, we've gone over it. There has been a political upheaval in the state of Virginia. There has been a political upheaval at UVA. The Board of Visitors are going through a massive change. But lately here, we have been told that the Southeastern Conference still has Virginia connected with North Carolina as the number 1 and 2 targets. Just like we were told and we reported to you all on June 15th of 2024. Now, we believe that Virginia is going to be a lot more difficult get for the SEC. So we're not going to have them sitting on the Big Ten side of the aisle, but we're not going to have them sitting in the SEC side of the aisle. They're standing in the aisle, okay? So they're the exception. And of course, along with North Carolina and Notre Dame. They're standing at the middle of the stage. I can tell you this. And this is going to upset a lot of people out there. And I can't help it. The Big Ten and the SEC are not going to give up on North Carolina. And the Big Ten is not going to give up on Notre Dame. All right? And the SEC is not going to give up on Virginia. It's just that is going to be a negotiations, battle fight. The SEC is in a good spot with North Carolina, but Big Ten, now this is everything that we're saying today is according to the last 24 hours. And a lot of it hasn't changed. Some of it has changed. And we'll get to it in the back half of the monologue. Some stuff has changed. That's why people are starting to settle in the chairs. So there it is. There is the first look, First update in the Holy Smokes Theater. Again, we have not given you the information that we intend to give you on this live show. There is some real particular information around all these schools, because that's why they're in the Holy Smokes Theater. Some new information on Miami, some new information on Utah, some new information on Florida State, new information on Clemson. So we are going to get into it all, and I am happy that you all could join us. This is the right day. This is the correct day for us to go back in the Holy Smokes Theater, because the information that we have received over the last 24 hours, nothing is settled, nothing is done, nothing is imminent. It hasn't been imminent for a couple of years. It still is not imminent. But that college football playoffs of 24 teams, if that plane actually lands and does not crash, and if it lands to the benefit, and the SEC is going to make sure it's to their benefit, Holy Smokes, in the Holy Smokes Theater, there's going to be some drama. There's going to be some drama percolating here. Okay. I do want to thank everybody who's joined us. I see that we've gotten a super chat. I appreciate it. We've got Oklahoma Sooner Bruce Harris. Bruce Harris, someone offered you, that was Ryan Thomas, someone offered you $2 for you to sing With or Without You. I just wanted to ante it up for you not to sing it. Stay cold, Greg, Boomer, Sooner. Well, you know, Bruce Harris, I have attempted to sing that song. Not live, here in the studio, or not this studio, in the old studio. I've attempted to sing that for an episode, for a PATC rendition. But I got to tell you, the range of vocals in that song is a little bit out of my scale. I cannot quite get it. Now, maybe I'll try again. Maybe I'll try again in this new studio where the sounds comes off the walls and I sound so much better. Maybe I can pull it off. Bruce Harris, thank you for reminding me. Maybe I'm going to give it another try. It is the perfect song. Between Notre Dame and the ACC, With or Without You by YouTube. It's the perfect song. And I think I might be the perfect golden voice from Greg the Gold to get that done. Thank you, Bruce Harris. Thank you for the ante. But I think you're going to have to offer a whole lot more money to stop me from singing that PATC rendition. Thank you for your generosity, sir. Thank you very much. $5 holler. $5 holler. Thank you, Bruce Harris. Appreciate it. Ooh, we've got Bill G, the incredible, edible Bill G, the Oklahoma State Cowboy, has done it again. He has done it again. He is so incredibly generous to this program, to the fat guy from Minnesota, and to the PATC Einsteins, giving a gift membership to Andrew Watt, Sun Devil Ager, Yogi Buck, Kirk Bender, and Newton Hawk. All of you. And I mean all of you are knighted. Cloak and dagger. Welcome to the family. Andrew Watt has already said thank you to Bill G. Thank you, Andrew Watt. Thank you for your kindness. I appreciate it. All of you, the names that I just read off, can go to our library of episodes, watch all the episodes, including episode 500 that just came out. Those episodes everyone can watch. Episode 500 this morning came out. I'm talking about the toll tax, the Southeastern Conference toll tax on Highway 24. So go watch that. Go watch that. But the 5 names that I just read off, you can, the Sun Devil, Ager, Yogi Buck, Andrew Watt, Kirk Bender, Newton Hawk. You can go to our library of episodes and watch the members only episodes, Early Pete, Cloak, and Dagger. And if you are a member to this program, and if you watched a Pacific Early Pete, Cloak, and Dagger episode dropped about a month ago discussing Florida State, well, we've got a whole bunch of confirmation on that information that we dropped to you a month ago. We got a whole lot of confirmations of that information in the last 24 hours. So the PATC family members who actually watched the Early Pete, Cloak, and Dagger episodes, and a lot of you have gotten your membership because of the generosity of the incredible edible Bill G, you know where we're going with this. You got the Early Pete, Cloak, and Dagger. So if you want to become a member, go to the link below the video, the description box. There's a link. Hit that link and become a member. Thank you, Bill G. Thank you so very much. And we've got Josh and all. I'll go cheese on meat free the next year if Duke gets to the Big Ten. You are knighted. You are knighted, Josh Null, for 3 months. You are knighted. You should go cheese on meat free. That's a Duke way of saying it. That is a Duke Blue Devil way of saying it. Separate your cheese and your meat. Just go ahead and separate it and enjoy the rest of your life. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it so very much. You are knighted, Cloak and Dagger once again. We also have a Mohr After Dark, and I know he's going to be kind. I believe he knows he cannot be throwing elbows every single day at me, because deep down in his soul, he understands it's no more Greg the Cooler. It is Greg the Gold. We've got a $5 super chat. $5 super chat. Greg is so cold that breaking the ice is less of a social maneuver and more of a natural disaster that requires major FEMA operation. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Mohr After Dark, here's the problem. Here's the problem. You've gone viral here. You've gone viral. All you're taking shots at Greg the Cooler, Greg the Cold. Everyone else is picking up on. Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. Man, all of you are going to look like fools. All of you are going to look like fools when I finally break the 500% mark, winning percentage marks on picks against the spread. All of you are going to look like fools. There's going to be so much Greg the Gold. I'm going to be wearing so much gold in this studio. It's going to embarrass all of you. Mohr After Dark, I'm going to keep a track of all these shots against me. All this Greg the Cooler shots against me. 2026 is the Fat Guy from Minnesota's Redemption Tour. And it begins today. No, not quite today. It begins whenever week 0 begins. Thank you, Mohr After Dark, for the $5 holler. Thank you so very much. Mohr, you know how I'm always taking a shot at the Buckeyes? But then when the Gophers play the Buckeyes, I have to apologize to you. This is exactly what's going to happen to you, buddy. You're going to have to apologize to me with all these shots, because my winning percentage is going to be absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I believe it. I do. I have to. Mohr After Dark, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Greg the Cold, all the Penn State fans know this. I declare that I will have to use headphones when Greg sings. Otherwise, my neighbor dogs will be hollering. Jeez.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
No respect. No respect at all. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. No meat on lasagna. No meat on lasagna. Absolutely no meat on lasagna. Nope. We've got Evil Badger. We've got the Evil Badger with 10 gift memberships. By the way, we're doing two things today because we do not have an I do declare update. Nobody put an I do declare update prediction from yesterday. So we are just sitting on, those are the last couple of I do declares. West Virginia makes a bowl game, Larry Andrick. West Virginia wins at least 8 games, Larry Andrick. So there is no I do declare update for today. So we're going to go in the Holy Smokes Theater. We're going to talk about what we need to talk about. Holy Smokes update. All information within the last 24 hours. But we're also doing a spotlight. We're also doing a spotlight on a certain team, and I can't remember that team's name. What is that team's name? What is that team? I can't remember who it is. Oh, that's the team we're doing the spotlight on. The Wisconsin Badgers. Why you call them the Evil Badgers, Greg? Well, they have sin in their name. Wisconsin Badgers. There is the spotlight. We're going to do it for Evil Badger, the great Ryan Willie. Thank you so very much. Legendary PATC family member, Ryan Willie. And then he goes and gives 10 gift memberships. On the very day we're doing the spotlight on his beloved Badgers, and the Evil Badger is all optimistic. He sees a lot of wins on this schedule. This schedule is doable. He likes the quarterback. He likes the running backs. He suddenly likes Luke Fickell again. He believes they're going to win back the axe. That ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen. But Wisconsin might win those other games. The Evil Badger, 10 gifted memberships, wet blanket. Obi-Wan Kenobi. On TO628, Mr. Dig Dug, Sharon Tabers, 7 Empis, Young Seminole, haven't seen Young Seminole in a while, Trent Brown, The Average Joe, Secret Agent, all were gifted a membership by the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Willie. When you get an opportunity, please say thank you to Evil Badger for his incredible generosity. And again, all of you can go to our library of episodes and watch the early peak Cloak and Dagger episodes for members only. You are officially knighted. Cloak and Dagger. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family of this independent national rebel outpost for all college football discussions. Thank you, Evil Badger. Thank you, my friend. Very generous of you, sir. Very, very generous of you, sir. And we've got, oh boy, we got every man a Wildcat. Super Chat. John Grove. Every man a Wildcat. Highway 25 literally goes through MHK. By the way, thank you for the $2 holler, John Grove. Thank you for the $2 holler. Now remember, the Southeastern Conference only has 50% ownership of that highway. The Big Ten has the other 10%. But the SEC is going to put their own little twist on this. We don't know exactly what's coming, but we know something is coming. There is, like we explained in episode 500, there is no way on God's green earth the Southeastern Conference is going to acquiesce to a college football playoffs of 24 without exacting some type of price on the rest of us. There's no way. There's no way they're going to gift wrap this off the field win to Tony Petitti. They're not going to want him to get any more momentum. No, 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 no. This is all political. The SEC is going to get something out of this. More money, more games for ESPN, more AQ model that tilts the Southeastern Conference way. One of those, two of those, all three of those, we don't know, but something is a-coming. Something is a-coming. We're going to learn more by the end of May during the Southeastern Conference meetings in Florida. Thank you so much, John Grove, Eva Badger, Moen. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of you. We've got the Osceola Trucker, the Seminole. Greg the Gold's gear is locked in the freezer. Oh my gosh. And the key has fallen down the drain. That's not good. See, it's all gone viral. This is Moen's fault. This is Moen's fault. This is Moen. This is... I had finally gotten most of you Einsteins to believe that this was going to be Greg the Gold's year. But Moen had to come in here, started a viral movement, and now none of you believe me anymore. None of you believe me anymore that I'm actually going to be a winner with my picks against the spread. Unbelievable. Thank you, Osceola the Trucker, for being a member for 17 months. You are officially knighted, my friend. Officially knighted, cloak and dagger. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. We've got Jacoba Cat, Super Chat. Big Ten open to expanding to 25 teams or 26 with Arizona State. I don't even think they're open to expanding to 24 teams anytime soon. So, and Arizona State is not in the theater as of today. Neither is Arizona, neither is Colorado, but they're probably in somebody else's theater. They're in somebody else's... I am not getting that information. It doesn't mean it's not true. We're not infallible here. I take my track record against anybody else. But we're not infallible. The people we talk to are not infallible. But we are not receiving that Arizona State, Arizona, Colorado, Stanford, California. We're not receiving any of that steam. We're not. If we do, we'll put them in the theater. We'll put them in the theater. But we just don't have it. We just don't have it. Thank you, Jacoba Cat, for the $2 holler. I appreciate it. Oh my gosh. Holy smokes. Look at this. We got an I do declare by the Iowa Hawkeye. Taking a shot at the Badger. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Jacoba Cat, I do declare Badgers won't score a touchdown against Iowa. Wow. Okay, we're going to book that in. Now, what kind of valuation points should I put on that? Jacoba Cat, let me know what you think is fair. Other people chime in. Is that a 4 or a 5? It's not really automatically a 5. 4 or a 5. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Jacoba Cat, thank you for the $2 holler. That is going to be booked in. That will be on the update for tomorrow. Thank you, Jacoba Cat, for another one of your bold predictions. That's an interesting one. We got another Jacoba Cat. We got another one. I Tell you what. Jacoba Cat, I do declare the beautiful Iowa Hawkeyes Football Club wins the Natty, and Kirk Ferentz will be named a living angel, and Gophers lose to Iowa by $1 million, by 1 million points. I will put this in as Iowa wins the national championship, and that's, of course, is a 5-pointer, and we'll leave off the other ones. Because of your generosity, Jacoba Cat, we're going to slice this into one. Iowa wins the national championship. That is going to be a valuation of 5-pointer. Thank you, Jacoba Cat, for your generosity. Very much appreciated. What did John Rothstein say? I can't listen to a video during the show. Did he rip on my Golden Gophers? My basketball program? Did he rip on them? I mean, that would not be a surprise. Is that what John Rothstein said? Did he rip on my Golden Gophers? John Grove, just let me know a little bit in the chat what it was about. But I can't listen to it. I can't listen to it. Daniel Gorby says a 4. John Dry, we're not doing 0.3. 4. Gygax 4. Big Lubbock says it's a 2 because nobody scores TDs on Iowa. Bill G a 3. It's only a 10-second clip. I still can't listen to it, though. I still can't listen to it. What was it? What was it about? Thank you, Jacoba Cat. Thank you for the $2 holler. It's a 1-pointer because Badgers are back in the 1980s. Thank you, Jacoba Cat. Okay, let's get on with the show. I do appreciate all the generosity. Again, Super Chats, we'll get to them as fast as we possibly can. Thank you guys. Very much appreciate it. Just making sure I have not missed anything. I have not. Okay. Let's get to, man, I'm getting a lot of messages here. I know things are popping. Hold on, everybody. We'll get to the Holy Smokes Theater. Hold on, everybody. Woo, hold on. Oh. Okay, let me see if I can, thank you, John Grove. Thank you very much. Thank you for sending that. John Grove, I very much appreciate you. All right? I very much appreciate you. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Ooh, CFB Plus. That's beautiful. Hold on. Sorry, guys. We're going to get to the Wisconsin Badgers. We're going to get to their spotlight. It's a very important spotlight, especially for our very good friend, our legend in the PATC community, Ryan Willie. Ryan Willie, I apologize. This is a live show, a lot of things going on. I got to show you guys this. I got to make sure I show you this. John Grove, thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. It's going to be worth it. John Grove, thank you very much. I cannot say thank you to you enough. John Grove, I cannot say thank you to you enough. John Rothstein, I can tell you without hesitation that UConn is still very much on the radar long-term of the Big 12. It wouldn't surprise me if the Huskies got a call from the Big 12, Big 10, or ACC. I'm going to leave that up there. We got the volume off. Again, this is a live show. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Let me handle it this way. No, UConn is not in the Holy Smokes Theater. But if you remember a couple of days ago, I reiterated the point that I believe that when the Big 12 does expand, it's not going to be just with ACC schools, and that UConn would probably be one of them. Or UConn would be backfilled with the ACC. But this is true. This is the chatter. Now, for whatever reason, John Rothstein felt like he could say it. He was not embargoed, I guess. He says, I can tell you without hesitation that UConn is still very much on the long radar long term of the Big 12. And that is what everyone is being told. Big 12 is not... There are certain entities in the Big 12 that has not made this a secret. So this is heavy chatter, and this is why I keep coming back to it. So I don't think John Ross, I think he's saying this because there's heavy chatter about UConn and the Big 12. Now, the ACC part, okay, that obviously that could become the home of UConn. If, certain dominoes fall. But if your Marquette is way, UConn would not be available to ACC. And then the Big Ten part, obviously, if the only possibility with that is if the Big Ten is looking at 24, and AC and UConn is like the last, but I have not heard that. So, but the Big 12 thing is, that's why I came back to it a few days ago. If any of you remember that, we talked about, I said UConn, once the Big 12 expands again, I don't think it's just going to be ACC schools. I think UConn is going to be part of it. There's a lot of reasons for that, and we've talked about those reasons. Brett Yormark thinks that basketball content is going to become more valuable than ever. He's going to try to decouple the football and the basketball content. He wants that Eastern market. He wants that New England market. And he also wants all those other connections that are up there in New York City where the Big 12 lawyers go and have meetings with other people. That's all happening in and around that area, UConn area. So I won't get any more into that. But yes, all that is real. All of that is real. Ooh, look who's in the house. We've got the moderator, the one who rules with an iron fist, Maria Hernandez Garcia Flugar. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. All right, everybody, everybody act professional. Everybody act professional. We've got another super chat, Eva Badger. Eva Badger. I do declare that the Badgers will beat the Hawkeyes by 10 points. Okay, that's going to get booked in. That's going to be official. You're going to see that on tomorrow's live show. The Hawkeye and the Badgers are going back and forth, and the I do declare is back and forth. This will also be a 5-pointer or 4-pointer. I'll make that decision later. Thank you, Eva Badger. Thank you for your generosity. Like always, thank you so very much. The Hawkeye Jacoby Cat and the Badger Eva Badger are going at it back and forth. Holy smokes. I also want the Big Ten to add Utah Youth cheerleaders. Thank you for the $2 holler, Jacoby Cat. I appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. I need butter for cookies, but I would be patient. I forgot to get butter. Greg eat all. That sentence works in any language, really. Yeah, I forgot to get the butter. Got to get the butter to get the cookies so the fat guy from Minnesota can eat. Stephen Vitt, your mark will end up stalling for too long to make a move for UConn. Well, all of that is serious, as we have said. That has not gone away. It is Vox Quindaro, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. UConn provides unique value in your mark that couples basketball in the next media rights negotiation. Kansas and UConn. Yes. Wild Jute just popping in to say, what's up, Godfather, Godmother, Mireya, and the PATC community. Thanks for coming in, Wild Jute. Appreciate it. Okay, let's get to it, guys and gals. I've been babbling for an hour, and we haven't even gotten to the program yet. And I know I'm going to get hit by comments in my DMs saying, Greg, get on with the show. Greg, get on with the show. Going to the spotlight. Again, later on, we'll go back to your super chats. And again, your super chats, we talk about whatever you want to talk about. Your phone calls, we talk about whatever you want to talk about in your phone calls. And the other comments, we pick and choose depending on the subject you have chosen in your comments in the chat room. CFB PATC Peek Around the Corner Spotlight Series. Now it is the Wisconsin Badgers. After the spotlight, we're going to go in the Holy Smokes Theater and we're going to give you the information, our monthly update, but this information came out in the last 24 hours. Buckle up, brace for impact. Buckle up, brace for impact for this man. Colton Joseph, transferred from Old Dominion. 2,600 yards passing, 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. A little bit below 60% completion percentage. You're going to have to get that up. You're going to have to go from Old Dominion to Big Ten football. You're going to have to get that up. 152.7 quarterback rating. That's pretty healthy. But take a look at that. 1,007 yards rushing, 6.4 average per rush. Again, sacks are included in all those statistics. 13 rushing TDs. Colton Joseph. Now, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'm going to remind everybody. In the Big Ten, it is very, very rare that a running quarterback is successful in the Big Ten. Basically, all they do is get beat up in the Big Ten. You got Colton Joseph with Wisconsin. You got Anthony Colandrea with Nebraska. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to find out. Luke Fickell, he's got all his chips on Colton Joseph. Let me know what you think. I think it's a gamble. I think it's a big gamble. Now, for the Wisconsin Badgers running backs, we got Darian Dupree going into his third year. I think a lot of Wisconsin Badger fans thinks this is it. This is the year. He's finally going to get the rock. He's finally going to get the rock. Last year, 363 yards rushing, 4.4 average per rush. The year before, it was only 4 yards per rush. Got to see a little bit more juice out of him. Got to see a little bit more juice out of him. 2 rushing touchdowns, 7 receptions. Darian Dupree, is this the year that he busts out? Is this the year of Dupree? Well, the other running back, we have seen him for 3 years at Iowa State in Ames, Iowa, Abu Sama. 732 yards rushing last season. 5.2 average per rush. 5 rushing touchdowns. In 3 years, Abu Sama has averaged 5.6 yards per rush at Iowa State. So he has been productive. Wisconsin has gotten a very productive running back out of the portal. From the Iowa State Cyclones, again, Abu Sama, one of many, many talented players who left Ames, Iowa after Matt Campbell left. And the Badgers are the beneficiaries of Abu Sama. Darian Dupree, Abu Sama, Colton Joseph. The Badgers are going to get back to running that football, running that football, running that football. But what about the wide receiver room? I don't know, man. I don't know. You tell me. Jeff Olson, Ryan Willie, somebody tell me who's going to be wide receiver number 1, wide receiver number 2, wide receiver number 3. I have my doubts on this wide receiver room, to be honest with you. I really did not know who to spotlight. But again, I went to this man, the man that the Badgers are hoping comes to life in his second year at Madison. Eugene Hilton III, the son of Eugene Hilton, the NFL pass catcher for 11 years. As a freshman, 8 receptions, 91 yards receiving, 11.4 average per rush, 0 receiving touchdowns. He went in the portal. But Wisconsin got him out of there. He said, okay, I'm coming back to Wisconsin. So, I don't know. Colton Joseph is not coming to Madison with a whole lot of proven production. If you take a look at their wide receiver room, it's guys with 20 catches, 8 catches, 11 catches. I don't know. But I do not have doubts about the Wisconsin Badgers linebackers. No, I do not. This man, you're going to know him, Mason Posa. This guy was a beast last year as a freshman. He's going to be in Madison for 3 more years. This guy is a beast. 31 solo tackles, 61 combos, 4 tackle for losses, 4 sacks as a bleeping freshman. And they've got other linebackers. The Badgers defense could be very formidable this year. They could be back. And it's going to be led by sophomore Mason Posa. Now, if you take a look at the Wisconsin football schedule, it's not as difficult as it has been. The Badgers get a little bit of relief here. One of the reasons why Ryan Willie and others are optimistic about Wisconsin this year. Now, they do play Notre Dame. They do play the Fighting Irish in the opener. But, they on the road against Penn State, that's going to be a tough Big Ten opener. Bet at home against Michigan State, on the road, UCLA, at home, USC, at Iowa, Rutgers, Maryland, Purdue. And then they've got the Axe game, Minnesota. And they're at home against Minnesota. They've lost the Axe game the last couple of years. It is very important. Very important. Very important for Luke Fickell to win back the Axe. Very important. Okay, so that's the football schedule. Again, in my way too early predictions in the Big Ten, I do not have Wisconsin in the upper half. I've got them number 11 behind Washington. The Badgers are going to be a bowl team, probably. They're going to be on the bubble. They're going to be on the bubble. They're going to be on the bubble. I'm not a big believer in their wide receiver room. If Colton Joseph can stay healthy, if they give him enough time to get comfortable in Big Ten play, maybe. But again, that first game against Notre Dame's defense, that is going to be a huge step up for Colton Joseph. Huge step up. That is a tough first game. That Notre Dame's defense is going to be top 3 in the nation. No question. No question. Top 3 in the nation. That's how Colton Joseph has to start his career in Madison. So put down your comments in the comments section below the video. Let me know what you think Wisconsin's going to end up as. I got him number 11 in the Big Ten. Sorry, Ryan Willie, but I cannot move them up. Now, Ryan Willie thinks I'm Greg the Cooler this year, so he's probably happy with that. But I got the Badgers at number 11. This has been your Wisconsin Badgers. Your Wisconsin Badgers Spotlight for the 2026 season. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, we're heading in to the Holy Smokes Theater. We got some information. This is going to be a massive update. Buckle up. Brace for impact. I want to thank everybody who has joined us again today. We've got a super chat from the very generous Purple and Gold OBD Dunn. OBD Dunn is one of the 3 chalks to win the I Do Declare World Championship. We've got Ryan Willie, we've got Larry Andrick, and we've got OBD Dunn. We've got a Badger, we got a Mountaineer, and we've got an LSU Tiger. Right now, I'm putting it up on the board. Those are the 3 chalks, the 3 favorites to become the first I Do Declare World Champion. OBD Dunn, oh Lord. I do declare if you don't get that butter immediately after HST, then come November, you're going to be that butterball turkey on the Flugard dinner table come Thanksgiving. Thank you, OBD Dunn. I very much appreciate your generosity, your kindness, your support, and giving me a little bit of advice. But I'm going to tell you something. As a caretaker for my mother and father for 12 years, and now we're no longer the primary caretaker, although I am going to go over there tomorrow, take care of the mom. I used to have to purchase unsalted butter for years. All right? And I would use that at their food. I would use it in my food. And since we have moved into our new place, I'm a couple of miles down the road from my mother, I'm back to salted butter. I'm back to salted butter, and it is absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. It tastes beautiful. Food tastes again. So put that butter, Put that salted butter into my cookies. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you, OPD Don. Appreciate it so very much. Thank you for the $10 holler. Thank you for your generosity. I appreciate it. We've got a super chat. We've got a super chat from Jacoba Cat. Oh my God. This is ridiculous. Whether or not, Jacoba Cat, $5, I do declare, whether or not the Badgers beat the Hawkeyes, I do declare the Gophers lose to both. Gophers would have lost to the Huskers too. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. You're declaring that the Gophers lose to both. That's a 5-pointer. That's a 5-pointer. That is an absolute 5-pointer. Oh, HST, that's Holy Smokes Theater. I'm sorry. Let me reread that again. I do declare that if you don't get that butter immediately after Holy Smokes Theater, then come. Got it. Thank you, OPD Don. OPD Don, another $10 holla. Thank you, OP. I appreciate it. I am the original Minnesota moron. I did not pick up on the HST. You've used that before. Other people have, but the brain don't work. HST, Holy Smokes Theater, sir. This is for the salted butter. Enjoy. Thank you, Opie. I appreciate it. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you very much. Jacoba Cat, Greg the Cooler. We've got another super chat. And then we're gonna go in the theater, ladies and gentlemen. Greg the Cooler about to make his presence known with his I do declare winner shock. Yep. Thank you for the $5 holler. Iowa Hawkeye, Jacoba Cat, appreciate it so very much. All right, so let's get into it. And again, if any other super chats come aboard or gift memberships, we'll get to it later. I appreciate the generosity. Phone calls we got to get to. I got to listen to what you guys say about college football. When you give a call, the floor is yours. You can talk about anything you want in college football. Okay, hold on one second. There is one message that I got to get to. Hold on. Again, if you missed it, we covered it earlier today. John Rothstein, college basketball reporter, saying that he has no hesitation to report that UConn is in the long-term plans of the Big 12. So, as we have been reporting to you for months here at Peek Around the Corner, as you all know. Hold on one second. We are going into the theater. Okay. This information has come within the last 24 hours. Of course, I've been on the phone. I've been on my email. So the momentum for a 2014 playoffs is still gathering steam. I believe that the SEC does acquiesce to it. They're gonna want there's gonna be a cost to it, and the SEC is gonna get something out of it. But going to a 24-team college football playoffs does grease the skids for larger expansion. And now you might be asking, why expand? It doesn't make any sense. Why expand? Eventually, you get to the laws of diminishing return. Why would the SEC expand? Why would the Big Ten expand? Well, both of them believe they're still not getting maximum dollars. The Big Ten definitely believes that they're not quite what they want to be yet. Their last expansion, they consider internally a smashing success. They believe they are a richer conference for adding Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and USC, and they will be in years ahead. Right? The Big Ten is very optimistic about what they've done, and they want to do it again. They want to do it again once the environment is open to it. And it's not been open to it, right? It hasn't. So nothing is imminent. The SEC has their own motivations to expand again. They want to remain that one region conference, but they've got to expand the TV footprint. They want to diversify the student population. And that is why they're looking at North Carolina, Virginia. You've got, and to be honest with you, South Carolina and Florida, again, are still growing like crazy. You got Clemson and Florida State, and you got Virginia Tech on the SEC side of the Holy Smokes Theater. On the left side, the Big Ten candidates, you've got the Utah Utes cheerleaders. You got Miami, you've got Duke, you've got Georgia Tech, and you've got Kansas. I am going to take this, I'm going to try to take this one at a time. I've already expressed why Virginia is not sitting, they're standing in the middle of the aisle. Not in, if you notice, he's not leaning in either direction. Complete toss-up. The SEC's number one targets are North Carolina and Virginia. They want those states. For the Big Ten, they would love to have North Carolina and Virginia. Their number one target is of course, Notre Dame. Virginia has become more and more complicated as every month on the calendar goes by. And I don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole unless somebody calls me and asks me why, or unless somebody puts a super chat and asks me why, because we have spent a lot of time on Virginia. So I'm going to go to Clemson here. We have been told, and within the last 24 hours. So this is not old information. But let me just say, nothing is imminent, nothing is done, nothing is settled. Clemson is not on the Big Ten's candidate list. It's not there. They're not there. And I would be surprised if they end up on that list. They're squarely sitting in a chair on the Southeastern Conference side of the auditorium. There is hope of Clemson to get to the Southeastern Conference. And of course, they're going to stay in touch with the Big Ten, but we have been told they're just not on the candidates list. And the Big Ten candidate list is large and extensive. But they're just not on it. Florida State. So I was read into some new information about Florida State. Now remember, just in the last 24 hours. Now if you remember, we had the Florida State money perch being really optimistic. For the first time since that settlement with the ACC, Florida State, this was before it became public on War Chant that Monday morning. That previous Friday night, we had the Money Perch send us a lot of information, optimistic, and it was about that the meeting, that retreat that Florida State had, the leadership with their own board of trustees, and of course that information leaked out to the boosters, and that's the Florida State Money Perch. And he was able to tell us that Florida State has become more optimistic about their chances to jump into the P2 when the time is right. The last 24 hours, I have been read into some more consternation between the Big Ten and Florida State. This is the chatter behind the curtain. The Big Ten has spent a lot of money, a lot of time. They have spent a lot of political IOUs in Washington, D.C. to try to get the SCORE Act passed, to try to get the House settlement codified. It's not looking too good, but this has been the Big Ten's operation along with the Southeastern Conference. The Big Ten wants to get it codified. The Big Ten does not want to lose their sovereignty at any point. They want to get it codified, but they don't want to give up any of their sovereignty. The Big Ten is 100% against the Cody Campbell Saving College Sports Act. They're 100% against what Cody Campbell tried to do. In fact, the Big Ten, along with the SEC, got someone to write a white paper, and they sent it up to Washington congressional people. This latest document that Cody Campbell, working with the Trump Roundtable to try to push ahead to the people up in Congress to say, this is what we could do, and it laid out a big plan. Basically, that was just a little bit kinder, gentler Cody Campbell plan, but written in a little bit kinder, gentler language. What does that have anything to do with Florida State? Nothing, except the fact that the person who worked with Cody Campbell and pushed that document into the Washington, D.C. halls of Congress was none other than the governor of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis. It was a DeSantis-Cody Campbell plan. And the Big Ten is 100% against that plan. So again, it leaves the Big Ten wondering what type of support, state support, what type of state support is gonna, what type of Big Ten school would Florida State be? I was also read in that the leading candidate to become the new governor of Florida, and I really don't know his name, Brian Donald? He has been a thumb into the eyes of the SEC and the Big Ten. He has worked against the SCORE Act. So again, there is this distrust, this relationship issue. Brian Donald is his name. So all of that is working against Florida. It's working against Florida State because Florida State is the major public university, the biggest one, of course, other than Gainesville, Florida, that's already in the SEC. This stuff is working against Florida State. So when you're having all these candidates, all these schools saying, this is what we can do for you, the political atmosphere, the current governor and now the governor, the guy who's the chalk to become the next governor, it's not working from Florida State's advantage. Now, that doesn't mean the door is completely shut, but I can tell you the last 24 hours kind of reminds me of right before I came on live June 5th, 2024 on that big show, which turned out to be all accurate. A couple of months later, Brett McMurphy, big report. Florida State is not in the plans for Big Ten expansion. Not today, they're not. Again, I warned all of you. I warned all of you that this was going to be a little bit of a different Holy Smokes Theater update. That the candidates have settled it in the chairs. There's not a whole lot of work in the room anymore. Nothing is done, nothing is settled, nothing is imminent, but there is more of a demarcation line going on. Florida State isn't really on the Big Ten candidates list right now currently, just like Clemson. Now, there is optimistic about Florida State getting to the Southeastern Conference. There is optimistic from Clemson's side to get to the Southeastern Conference. They believe the Southeastern Conference is going to do the big scoop. I believe it as well. But no, I would say out of every 10 messages that I get from Seminole fans in my DMs or in public, I would say about 70% is running Big Ten. They believe they're going to get to the Big Ten. About 70%. The messages that I get. But I got to tell you, you got to flip that. In fact, I would go about 90-10. Florida State's pathway to the P2 is the Southeastern Conference. This is of today once again. Now, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that because they've heard other things, and that's all fine and good. You can disagree, but I got to tell you what I'm hearing. I mean, that's just the way it is, guys. This is a peek around the corner. You can go ahead and check our track record. You can talk to people in the chat room about it. The last 24 hours, Clemson and Florida State, as powerful football brands they have, as much as Florida State has done with their school, they're just not on the Big Ten expansion candidate list of today. There are other schools on that list. And Florida State is a very valuable school. So is Clemson. So the Southeastern Conference, if you look at it from their perspective, they're going to be adding, they have an opportunity to add a whole lot of value to the conference. That big scoop, that North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Clemson, Florida State, right? It's right out there. You can see it in the Holy Smokes Theater. That Southeastern Conference big scoop. But no, and I just have to agree to disagree with people when they believe that the chalk is Big Ten for Florida State. That's not the information that I have received, and I'm going to warn you, I have gotten this information from more than one person, from more than two people. This information, this is the chatter, just like the UConn thing, right? You got confirmation. I have been reporting to you all that the UConn is still a Big 12 big-time candidate, and you've heard it from Rothstein today. I'm telling you, Florida State is on the SEC candidate list. but not on the Big Ten candidate list. Now, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's future, they do have a long shot, viable shot to get to the P2. It rests a lot with what Virginia does. It rests a lot with what the internal politics of the state of Virginia. The governor, the attorney general, the board of visitors, Virginia Tech and Virginia. Virginia Tech is squarely on the SEC side of the aisle. They are not on the Big Ten candidate list of today. We have been told that within the last 24 hours. Could they become on the Big Ten candidate list? Yes. Could Florida State? Yes. Could Clemson? Yes. But right now, they're just not. The Big Ten is talking to a big old group of schools. Nothing imminent. But those three schools are just not on the Big Ten candidate list. Now we go to the Big Ten side of the aisle. The Utah Utes. You got the cheerleaders back there. And again, you know, I know what's going to happen here. I'm going to get roasted, but it's Utah Utes have some things going for them and some things not going for them, but they're definitely on the candidates list. They definitely have talked to the Big Ten. We know this, and every other, I'm going to be careful here. The chatter behind the curtain, there's a complete consensus on this. There are things working against Utah. First of all, the calendar is not working for Utah. Utah would love for all of this to happen at about 2029, 2030. I happen to believe it's going to happen a little bit earlier than that. It might not. The later this happens, the better off it is for Utah and for Kansas. Also, there are candidates that are ahead of Utah. In the last 24 hours, there are candidates ahead of Utah. But Utah is definitely in the mix. The growth of Salt Lake City, the demographics, we've talked about all this before, but I got it reconfirmed within the last 24 hours. Utah is definitely on the list. They're going to be in there. They're going to be in the game, and they're going to be probably offering up a lot of stuff. They're going to be a university that's going to say, what do we need to do to get in? And that is going to be music to the Big Ten's ears, right? Big Ten is pro-expansionist. Tony Petitti believes in expansion. He believes there's money being left on the table. They've got a large expansion list. The last time they went west, and again, people have different perceptions out of this outside of the Big Ten. Internally in the Big Ten, the last expansion was a grand slam. And they really do not have fear about going west again. Going to the mountain region, going to Utah. There is really no fear of that, except there are schools ahead of Utah as of today. So again, Utah is on the list, depending on the timing, depending on the the breadth of the expansion. But Utah is in the game. So is Kansas. Kansas is in the game. Kansas is right with Utah. Same issues that Utah has, the calendar, and there are candidates ahead of Kansas on the candidates list. But currently of today, Kansas is on the Big Ten list. Georgia Tech, they're on the Big Ten candidate list. And we've gone over Georgia Tech. They might not be as aggressive as the other schools. Georgia Tech is very close to Virginia and North Carolina. They all consider themselves public Ivies. They want to have that relationship. They want to keep that relationship. So, but Georgia Tech cannot be a candidate on the Southeastern Conference list. So Georgia Tech is not as aggressive as the other schools, but they're definitely on the list. Duke is the opposite of Georgia Tech. And we have reported this before. Duke has been very aggressive. They've been telling the Big Ten that they can run it alone. We just need, if this happens, if the ACC implodes, Duke has been telling the Big Ten, grab us, we'll be valuable to you, and we won't cost you that much. We're going to give you way more value than you give us for the first 5, 6, 7 years. And that has been a very powerful argument. Duke, big, massive basketball brand, going to be an international brand once the Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12 and the ACC goes international for the next decade, and that's been starting up. Duke is definitely on the Big Ten candidates list, and they're probably moving up. Especially if the Southeastern Conference lands their top 2 targets of Virginia and North Carolina. Then you're looking at a heavy possibility of Miami and Duke leading the next Big Ten expansion. Miami is the Big Ten's belle of the ball if they're not able to land North Carolina and Virginia. Miami is the sweet blend for anybody on the candidates list. You can see Miami. Now, this was in the last 24 hours. This discussion that I had with one particular person who is, can't tell you who he is, but Miami and Utah works. Miami and Duke works. Miami and Georgia Tech works. Miami and Kansas works. Miami and North Carolina works. Miami and Virginia works. Miami works. Miami works in pretty much everything. The only reason why Miami is not on the stage as a surefire tier 1 bet is if Notre Dame decides to do it, be the first one to do it, and then they take on a candidate of their choosing and it's not Miami. That is the only scenario that Miami is not in the Big Ten in the first wave of the next expansion. That is the only reason we do not have Miami on the stage. Miami is Big Ten's belle of the ball if North Carolina and Virginia, if North Carolina decides to go to the SEC. And that's within the last 24 hours. So that not only has that not been diffused, it has only grown. So when it comes to the state of Florida, there's only one Florida team in the P2. That's going to change, ladies and gentlemen. That is most definitely going to change in the state of Florida. But according to all the information that I have received, confirmed in the last 24 hours strongly, Miami is definitely sitting in the Big Ten side of the Holy Smokes Theater, and Florida State is definitely sitting on the SEC side of the theater. There has been more talk, more buzz, more steam, however you want to phrase it, about Clemson and North Carolina. Clemson has been working it. Behind the scenes, Clemson and Duke have been working it. We've got confirmation in triplicate form. So if you're a Dookie out there, your university, your boosters, they're doing everything they possibly can. If you're a Clemson guy, Clemson gal, Clemson, and I'm not going to say the name, but they're working it. They're definitely working it, trying to get to the Southeastern Conference, working it with North Carolina. They've got great relationships. And of course, you know how much Florida State is working it with what they've done with the university. They're trying to get AAU. So there's a lot of schools that are working it. The one that really is not working it, that is sitting in these chairs, is Georgia Tech. That is a whole mystery, except for the fact that that seems to be their leadership's... I'm not going to get into it too much on this show. I'm going to have to do a Georgia Tech show. But their leadership is a little bit... I would say they resemble a lot of the leadership, the last prior leadership of the University of Miami. They're not quite in touch with what's going on, but we'll leave that off for another day. So there it is. There is your update in the Holy Smokes Theater. A definite line of demarcation. Nothing is done. Nothing is settled. It does not mean, maybe 2 months from now, I'll have Duke over on the SEC side. I'll have Florida State on the Big Ten side. I'll have Miami over here. But right now, this is how the chatter behind the curtain is looking at it. This is the definite chatter behind the curtain. I don't want to name names. Just think of the most popular known college football reporters. And if you had them under the spotlight, if you could put them in a room and ask them, where would you put Florida State? They would say SEC. Where would you put Clemson? They would say SEC. Where would you put Miami? They would say Big Ten. Where would you put Kansas, Duke, Utah, Georgia Tech? If there was a choice that they could go either way, this is how they would have it. And I'm okay if you disagree. I'm absolutely okay if you disagree. Of course, this is the home for disagreement. But again, I'm just warning you. I have spent a lot of time on this. And this is where we stand right now. But I just want to make sure everybody realizes something. Nothing is imminent. So because nothing is imminent, things can change. And if things change, I'm going to report the change as fast as I possibly can to you all. That's what we do here at Peek Around the Corner. We're giving you the peek, just like we did with all the other stories that we have broken. And for the long-time PATC family members, you know what I'm talking about. Colorado, Washington, Oregon, USC, everything, Boise State. There is certain consensus in the chatter. The Yukon thing that Rothstein just confirmed, our report over the last months, whatever, that is absolutely real. Yukon is still in the Big 12 long-term radar. There's no question about it when you concern what the chatter is saying. The people behind the curtain, the people who report to you what is going on. The Yukon thing is real. The Notre Dame ACC horrible relationship, that is real. Duke working it, that is real. Clemson working it, that is real. Florida State being on the SEC side of the aisle, that is real. Utah on the Big Ten side of the aisle, that is real. We can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, but we can give you the peek. That is where we sit right now in the Holy Smokes Theater. Now, I'm not going to do another Holy Smokes Theater update for another month. I've been trying to do them once a month. Unless something pops. Unless something breaks. First of all, we got to see if that college football playoff of 24 team lands. If that lands, there's going to be more than a couple of teams, a couple of programs, a couple of universities within that Holy Smokes Theater that is going to be able to make the leap into the P2. Now, let's go to your super chats. Let's go to your phone calls. Where am I on this? Holy smokes. 250 people. If you're new to the program, please subscribe. Ring that notification bell and then smash the like button. Please smash the like button. I would appreciate it very, very, very much. I'm kind of lost here. Hold on. We've got Kenneth Maynor, super chat. Serving wine and cheese in the Holy Smokes Theater. Yeah, cheese on cracker. Cheese on cracker. That is fine. That is what is served in the Holy Smokes Theater. Not too much wine though. Not too much wine. Some Bush Apple Light beer that is being served in the Holy Smokes Theater. That stuff is tremendous. We've got CGT Mohr. We've got an I do declare. I declare that North Dakota State will crack the top 25. I'm going to go ahead and book that. I'm going to make that official, but that's going to be a valuation of 1 point. Because North Dakota State is going to be favored in all of their games. So if they do what they should do, they're going to crack the top 25. But I'm going to give it a 1-pointer. I'm going to allow that to be in. Thank you, SGT Mohr. Appreciate your generosity. You are officially now in the I Do Declare World Championship competition. Thank you very much. We've got Kenneth Maynor. We've got Kenneth Maynor super chat. We'll get to your phone calls here in a moment. Kenneth Maynard, ECU Pirate, one of Duke, Virginia, or North Carolina State will be in the SEC. UNC needs a rival dance partner. The other two rivals will be scheduled as non-conference games. I would think so. I would agree, Kenneth Maynard. I would agree. Thank you for the $10 holler. Somebody's got to go in there with North Carolina. One of those schools. I would agree. Maybe the other one I would add in there is Virginia Tech. I would add in Virginia Tech. But thank you, Kenneth Maynard. I appreciate the generosity. Let me get to your phone calls here. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Remember, if you call in, the floor is yours. The floor is yours. Talk about anything in college football that your heart desires.
From
Rick is on the line. Thank you for calling, Rick. The floor is yours.
Hey, how we doing?
Doing good. Doing good. A beautiful Wednesday, May 13th. I got a nice little walk-in really early this morning. The fat guy from Minnesota was walking around a big old pond out there, so I feel good. How you doing, sir?
You earned your cookies.
Yes, but the cookies are not being made right now because I got to get myself some butter. So.
No, you don't want cookies without butter.
No, can't do that.
Hey, help me out on the SEC candidates.
Yeah.
In the theater.
Yes.
What is that animal on the far right?
That's a Hokie. Virginia Tech.
Oh, that's Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so they're there.
Yeah.
And when we're talking those ones on the Big Ten side, they're not coming in full freight.
Not unless
No
Notre
way,
Dame
no how.
comes with them. Probably not.
Right.
Yeah. Unless it happens in 2030 or something. But yeah, I get it.
Okay, because I'm trying to figure out how many cents on the dollar they'd be coming in at.
Mm-hmm.
Are you figuring like with a Utah and a Kansas and a Georgia Tech around 25 cents on the dollar?
I don't know. I would. Who are you talking about? Which schools? Miami's not coming. Miami would come in at least what Washington and Oregon got.
I said Utah, Kansas, Georgia Tech.
Quite possibly. But the Utah-Kansas thing has the issue with the Big 12 Gore. That's an issue. I've been told that's an issue. So, yeah. You might be right, though, on those numbers.
And then and I'll hang up right after this. I kind of take the opposite side of what you think. I believe that because the Big Ten is not happy about the way Florida State is acting, and because they really don't have interest in Clemson, that the SEC may do a little scoop and drive down the cost on Clemson and Florida State and get them for 50 cents on the dollar.
Can you repeat that last part?
Because the Big Ten has little interest in Clemson, and doesn't like the way the Seminoles are acting, they're going to stay away from them. And because of that, the SEC now knows that there's not all that much interest in the Big Ten for those schools. So the SEC will only take 2 schools, little scoop, and leave Florida State and Clemson behind and pick them up later for 50 cents on the dollar.
Well, that might be a possibility. That might be a possibility from the very get-go.
Right.
Because if they go into an early media rights negotiations with ESPN, that might be one of the clauses that ESPN has in there. It might not be a full pro quo pro rata.
Quid pro quo, yeah.
Pro rata.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, that might be part of it anyways. So, yeah.
But it's also, it could be a tactical move on the part of the SEC to say, hey, we've got this whenever we want it.
Yeah.
Just set it off to the side. We'll collect it later.
Yeah.
Kind of the way the Big Ten is treating Kansas and Utah and Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
They're there when we want them for whatever we want to pay for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for taking the call.
You got it, buddy. Appreciate it. Great call. Daniel Gorby, we are not acting good. Shake my head. It's not really a Florida State issue. Thanks for the call, Rick. I'll get to that back in a second.
Call from
Eva Badger.
Eva Badger, Ryan Willie. Can you hold on for just one moment, please?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not Florida State acting in this particular case. It's the governor of a state in which, and I have nothing against Ron DeSantis. I'm not anti or pro. I'm just saying the Big Ten, according to the information I got over the last 24 hours, the Big Ten did not like what Ron DeSantis did. And then again, that adds on to this mistrust of what a public university in the state of Florida, would they mesh well with the other Big Ten schools? And it just and the guy who's going to become governor, he's not been helping with the SCORE Act at all. He's been against it. He's been trying to kill it in the House. This is something I did not know, but I've had explained to me by chatter behind the curtain, some major people saying, look, it's just, but that could change. I mean, it could be a different person who becomes governor. Other things might not happen. These other candidates on the Big Ten side of the coin might not work out for them. Florida State, Miami blend would absolutely be a crusher, would be pretty good for the media companies. So it could change, but as of today, Florida State is definitely on the Southeastern Conference side of the aisle. Ryan Willie, and it's not something that Florida State themselves is actually doing, like Daniel Gorby says. The floor is yours, Ryan Willie.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for taking my call.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay. Just an update on Wisconsin and one other thing other than that. First, the Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin has launched a search committee for a new AD.
Yeah. Yes, I heard
and
that.
A couple of the members of the search committee are former Badger basketball player Michael Finley, who is now with the Dallas Mavericks in the front office, and former Badger player during the Martin and Alvarez era, Chris Ballard, the GM of the Indianapolis Colts.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully within the next few months we'll have a new AD and hopefully a president and chancellor, with that being all so also. But the other thing I wanted to mention was that Wisconsin will defeat the Minnesota Gophers by 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns.
Yes.
Woo! Well,
it's at Camp Randall.
Yeah, it is. It is. Last time Minnesota was at Camp Randall, we took the axe home with us.
And Greg, you be in your element there because it will be cold in Madison at that time of year.
What was that?
You'd be in your element at that time of year because Madison will be cold.
Look, Drake Lindsay versus Colton Joseph.
I think Colton Joseph over Drake Lindsay.
No.
Yeah,
Drake Lindsay
went through
a whole Big Ten schedule as a freshman, threw 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, higher completion percentage than Colton Joseph, better touchdown interception ratio than Colton Joseph.
42-3 Ohio State over Minnesota, wasn't it?
What was that?
Wasn't it like 42-3 Ohio State?
Yeah, well,
over Minnesota?
Sure. We got whooped. We got whooped by Buckeyes. We got whooped by Oregon. But again, you're Wisconsin. Colton Joseph versus Drake Lindsay. Darius Taylor versus Darian Dupree. It's all Minnesota. All our wide receivers are much better. I would not be surprised if Minnesota goes into Camp Randall and is not a 14-point favorite.
And I will do a small super chat when I do declare for that.
Okay. All right.
Prediction
I appreciate that,
just
sir.
made. All right.
All
right. Thank you for taking my call.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.
Everybody settle down in the chat room here. Everybody settle down. Vox Quindaro, for the first time I'm considered blocking someone. You can go ahead and throw elbows at each other, but be careful. Be careful. I'm watching. I am watching.
From
Edward the Auburn Tiger.
Edward the Auburn Tiger, can you hold on for just one moment, please?
Yes, sir.
I do appreciate your patience. We got a super chat from the Purple and Gold, from the LSU Tiger, Lane Kiffin's, part of Lane Kiffin's security team, Christopher Hooter. Whoops, I did not want that. Super chat. The SEC is not going to go goofy 18. It's 20 or 24, not 18. I would agree with you, Christopher Hooter. Thank you for the $2 holler. I think you're going to be correct on that. Absolutely, Christopher Hooter. Maybe Christopher Hooter is starting to warm up a little bit to the college football playoffs in 24, as long as the SEC can extract something out of the Big 12, ACC, and the Big 10 to acquiesce to the college football playoffs of 24. Thank you, Christopher Hooter. We got another super chat. Another one, Kenneth Maynor. Kenneth Maynor, ESPN's best small scoop is Florida State, North Carolina blend. Double up in Florida, and the biggest new footprint. Grab 2 more later, 2 out of Virginia, Virginia Tech, North Carolina State, and Clemson. I think a lot of people would agree with you. ECU Pirate, A lot of people would agree with you, sir. That would be a pretty good blend. Maybe that's why Clemson is trying to be that blend with North Carolina. Thank you, Kenneth Maynard. Thank you for the $5 holler. I appreciate it. Edward, the Auburn Tiger. The Auburn Tiger PATC family member is on the line. The floor is yours.
Hey, Greg, another great show, man. Appreciate everything that you do.
I appreciate
You
you,
give it
sir.
100 every day, man.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Well, Greg, sounds like the Holy Smokes Theater is settling in somewhat, don't you think?
Yeah, I think they're settling in their chairs. I think they know what side of the aisle they should be sitting. I think we're at that point. We're still a long ways to go, though.
Yes, sir. Well, Greg, you have Greg Sankey in Birmingham. Okay, he's looking at this push for the 2014 playoff. He sees his media partner, ESPN, is basically a no-go when it comes to the expansion of this playoff. He's looking at the Score Act, maybe not passing. He's looking over the landscape of college football. Him and his peers don't really trust anybody, anywhere.
Yeah.
And he's sitting in this seat and he's looking and he's thinking to himself, it's time to see how bad ESPN does not want to be a part of this playoff.
Yeah,
He's also
ESPN's
wanting
going to have to
figure
get
out
something. Yep.
Go ahead, Greg.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, if for this to happen, the SEC and ESPN are going to have to get something out of this deal. Go ahead, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's thinking to himself, I mean, we've heard reports that ESPN, SEC is probably going to go into a new contract negotiation.
Yep.
And so he's looking at this. You have to think that he knows that he's sitting in somewhat of a catbird seat. And I got to believe him and ESPN, and depending on what they do with this next decision, is really going to kind of facilitate what's going to happen in college football. Do you think?
What was that again?
I mean, here you have Sankey knowing that ESPN does not want this 2014 playoff. I mean,
everybody
it's coming
knows
out
that.
Coming out of the it came out of the ACC
Yep.
meetings.
Yep.
Different coaches, different ADs have reiterated. It didn't even accentuate that ESPN was willing to deal or negotiate. They're flat out saying that ESPN does not want this college 24 team playoff. And here you have the SEC kind of sitting in the catbird seat. You got to believe that Sankey is going to try to use this really to further the SEC cause.
Yeah.
Especially hearing that they may renegotiate a new contract, seeing that they want to expand the conference. Is there a scenario that Greg Sankey, SEC, ESPN, with an understanding about the landscape of where we are, is it possible that SEC makes the ESPN and ESPN makes the SEC an offer that they cannot refuse, where this 2014 does not happen? SEC gets a big payoff, get everything it wants in terms of financial agenda, expansion, precedent setting. Can you see a scenario like that?
Well, I can, except I think that goes along with going to the playoffs with 24 teams. I don't think ESPN, I think going to the college football playoffs with 24 teams is one of the ingredients that would make all the other stuff happen. I don't think it's going to happen. And to keep it from happening, I think all that stuff is going to happen because they're going to allow that to happen. In other words, ESPN is going to make some more playoff money. They're going to get a few more games. ESPN, possibly early negotiations. SEC, possible expansion. There's also going to be a deal in there that possibly might have teams come in from less than pro rata. Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, you're all going to make a little bit more money off of that. the expansion of the Southeastern Conference Network, a possible new media partner that comes in, a streaming partner possibly. Whatever all those other possibilities are, I think the college football playoffs of 24 teams, though, is going to be the ingredient part of that total package. I could be wrong, but I think it's coming, and I think everybody knows it, but I think ESPN and SEC is going to make sure they're going to get something out of this. They're not just going to get a pat on the back from Silent Tony and Phillips and Yormark. They're going to get more than a pat on the back. They're going to get some extra money, some extra exposure, some extra AQs, whatever it is, they're going to get something out of it. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Well, I got to believe that SEC and ESPN is probably going to ask for the farm. Ain't no telling. Mm-hmm. But based on what I'm hearing from you, you might know a lot more information than we do. You may be saying without saying, because I don't see a scenario if ESPN, they have control of the college football playoff right now. They have total control of it. Mm-hmm. I just cannot see them giving up that control to anybody, especially seeing that they control one of the main pieces on the board, the SEC, without them having some kind of big-time compensation. Mm-hmm. But I do want to ask you another question, and I'll get off, Greg. The Miami factor. Once again, I'm looking at it from the perspective of ESPN. I mean, ESPN facilitated the deal with the ACC in the court cases with Clemson and Florida State, allowed them to have this scenario that they can have an escape clause, which everybody knows about down the road. They did all that, and then here they are now. I can't see them making all these moves and just simply let Miami just walk out the door, especially seeing where Miami is as a football program. Is there any scenario, obviously you stating that ESPN may have or may force or maybe encourage the SEC to grease the skids when it comes to Virginia, North Carolina, and getting Clemson and Florida State. So with that same tone, that same precedence there, and with the moves they made with the ACC, is there a scenario that ESPN cut some kind of deal with the SEC to also recoup Miami and not let that brand get out of their fold and go to their competition?
Sure, there is. And I don't think anyone would say there's not a scenario that would happen. The chalk is definitely the other way, but there's a scenario of that happening. Now I do think Miami is one of the very few schools in the South from a major Power 4 conference that their faculty would pick the Big Ten over the SEC, and I think most of the boosters would as well. So,
yes, sir.
But there's definitely that possibility. Absolutely, yep.
Well, Greg, thank you very much for all that you do. I'm going to hang up. Okay.
You got it, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir. Great call.
Yes,
absolutely sir. Great call. We've had a lot of great calls again today. Edward the Auburn Tiger. Rick, Ryan, Willie. I do want to thank everybody who joined us today on this massive Wednesday, May 13th show, coming off the heels of the ACC spring meetings, the college football playoffs of 24 teams. We might be getting there, ladies and gentlemen. The Army of 24, we were the underdog. We might be the favorite now, but the SEC, they're going to have to acquiesce, and the SEC is going to get something out of this deal. But if we get to the college football playoffs of 24 teams, that is just more grease. Just a little bit more grease to grease the skids for further conference expansion, something that the Big Ten is war gamed out, something the SEC wants to do eventually to increase their footprint, to increase their diversity of their student population, They're looking at the state of North Carolina, Virginia. They're looking at a future decade of getting into the Middle East and international markets. The SEC has a plan. The Big Ten has a plan. And of course, the Big 12 and the ACC have backup plans. But this is where we see everybody. They're settling into the chairs. There's nothing imminent. Nothing's done. Nothing's been settled. There is no handshake deal. There is no wink, wink. But if you ask somebody from Miami, the leadership, they're going to be taking you. They're going to be sitting on the Big Ten side of the aisle. Utah, Big Ten side of the aisle. Duke, Georgia Tech, Kansas on the Big Ten side of the aisle. Clemson, Florida State, and Virginia Tech on the Southeastern Conference side of the aisle. The Virginia Cavalier is standing in the middle of the aisle. North Carolina and Notre Dame, both of them center stage for reasons you all know. I do want to thank Bruce Harris, Bill G, Mowing After Dark, Josh O, the Evil Badger, John Grove, Osceola Trucker, Jacoba Cat, and OBD Dunn, Kenneth Maynard, CJT Mohr Hugh, Christopher Hooter. Thank you guys and gals for all your generosity, for your donations to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Again, this month of May, I mean, we got the ACC spring meetings already generated a lot of drama, a lot of news. They're supporting the college football playoffs of 24. We've got Josh Rothstein saying today that he does not hesitate to say that UConn is on the long-term Big 12 radar. Again, that is still percolating. We've got the May meetings, the Big Ten May meetings going on and just outside of Los Angeles, California. We've got the SEC meetings happening later this month. Woo! Buckle up, brace for impact. Stick with us here at College Football's Peek Around the Corner as we continue our Spotlight series. Every live show we do, we put the spotlight on one particular team. Today, it was the Wisconsin Badgers. Colton Joseph, Darren Dupree, Abu Sama, Eugene Hilton, Mason Posa, the great freshman linebacker last year. He's going to be phenomenal this year. Again, every single live show, every single day, we're talking about the football teams going into 2026 and the drama that is circulating all around college football. Please consider joining our channel, subscribe to our channel, ring that notification bell because we can come on live at any time. We've come on twice, 3 times a lady, sometimes live shows, breaking news, videos, episodes. Make sure you become a member of our program. If you want to become a member of our program, go to the link below the video in the description box. Hit the link and become a member. I appreciate all of you. We've got a lot more work to do this week. It's only Wednesday, and this is a crazy May. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family,